All right, here's our review for the endocrine system. First off, you see that word endocrine, you're like, what the heck is that? It's just a system or a whole bunch of glands in your body that release specific specialized hormones. The purpose of releasing these hormones is to maintain homeostasis, maintain the balance in your body. Like insulin's released if you have too much sugar in your blood, or if you are going on a hike and you fall down, adrenaline might be released to give you that fight or flight response to help you make it through a tough time. So in essence, glands release hormones to help you maintain homeostasis or release hormones to allow you to respond to a stimuli. Therefore, responding to a stimuli is known as an effect or a reaction. That's why glands are called effectors. The first gland we're going to take a look at is one that's inside the brain. This is called the Pituitary Gland. It's the master of all the glands. It controls all the other ones and regulates pretty much everything in the body. It is not part of your brain, though. So we're going to take a look at the brain up close and take a look at exactly where that pituitary gland is in your head. Again, not part of the brain. Let's take a closer look now at this pituitary gland. You see this little piece of tissue. It looks like a little ball. It's known as the master gland. It controls all the other glands. So there are quite a few hormones released by this thing. First one we'll mention is growth hormone, human growth hormone, HGH. This causes your bone cells to elongate, to grow longer, which causes you to get taller. Also really increases the rate of protein synthesis, ultimately helping you to grow. Too little when you're younger causes dwarfism. Too much growth hormone when you're younger causes gigantism. Another hormone, ADH, antidiuretic, causes or controls the amount of water reabsorbed by your kidneys. Therefore, will help regulate or control blood pressure. Follicle stimulating, FSH, tells the ovaries, hey, get an egg ready. We got to release them soon. And then luteinizing hormone, another sex hormone along with FSH, tells the ovary, hey, you got that egg ready? Let's release the egg now. It delivers a message to the ovaries telling the ovaries to release an egg. Real quick, there's another little gland in the back here called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland, this releases a hormone called melatonin, one that most people are familiar with. This helps you sleep. Just to round off this picture, the parts of the brain you guys know, spinal cord, which goes into your brain, called the medulla, that part, cerebellum, and the top part, the cerebrum. There is one more hormone I want to mention, though, in the pituitary gland, called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Now, what does this hormone do? It stimulates the thyroid. It says it in its name. Stimulates or activates the thyroid. So let's take a look at this thyroid gland. It's in your neck, right below your larynx, your voice box, kind of like a butterfly shape. So this is going to be your thyroid. If you look up close, there's other little areas referred to as your parathyroid. Really kind of helps control the amount of calcium inside your bloodstream. So what does this gland actually do? Thyroid gland, it's going to release hormones. And the hormones that it releases really control your metabolism. What tells the thyroid to release hormones? The pituitary. Pituitary is like, hey, release hormones. Because the pituitary has that hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone. The thyroid will release thyroxine. That really increases metabolism. There's also another one. And calcitonin, more by the parathyroid, helps control how much calcium is in the blood. If it's underactive, your thyroid, it can cause weight gain, no matter how healthy you eat. And overactive could make it really hard to put on weight, no matter how bad you eat. The thyroid gland, it needs iodine in order to function properly. If there's not enough iodine present, then you will have a thing called a goiter. your neck will kind of swell out. Taking a look at our next little gland, this is located right below the stomach and a little bit behind. This is a very important gland. It has digestive functions and endocrine functions. It's called the pancreas. This thing, you're aware from our past talks, releases many digestive enzymes into the small intestine in order to allow chemical digestion to be completed. It also controls the amount of sugar that's inside your bloodstream. And it uses these two hormones to do it. Insulin, which will lower your blood sugar, or the amount of sugar in your blood if it gets too high. And a hormone called glucagon. When all your glucose is gone, it will help you increase your blood sugar when the blood sugar is low. Let's take a look at these two hormones in a graph. This is our little feedback graph we're going to take a look at. So you see on the right, you have normal blood sugar levels, is that dotted line. And bam, it takes a rocket ship up high. Your blood sugar will increase. Why? Mostly it's due to eating, especially when you eat really sugary or high carb foods. You guys know eating a bowl of pasta is like the same thing as eating a bowl of sugar. It's all broken down into simple carbohydrates, sugars. Your body is going to release insulin to get it to go down. That's negative feedback. As it goes on its way down, back to normal, that's positive. Down here, it went too low. Your body got too much sugar out and you had a crash. That's that sugar crash after the sugar high. Negative feedback ensues. Glucagon's released. Your body's like, get your sugar higher. And your sugar will go up. And then we'll go up and down, up and down. This little up and down motion or look, that shows maintenance of homeostasis. Just remember, negative feedback causes a change. Positive feedback keeps things going in the same direction. So just to sum up, what can cause increases in blood sugar? Eating, especially carb-rich foods. Also, glucagon. If you're working out and you don't have enough sugar in your blood, glucagon will help cause more glucose to go into your blood, allowing you to make more ATP. What causes a decrease in your blood sugar, though? Exercising, because you're using your glucose to make ATP. Therefore, it's not going to be left in your blood. Insulin also is the hormone that will cause your blood sugar to get less. So let's take a look at glucagon and insulin in a normal functioning body. So no diabetes, normal regulation. You eat some food, broken down, you get glucose in your blood. Body senses the change, insulin's released, goes into the receptors, glucose comes out of your blood, goes into your cells, fat cells, liver cells, muscle cells. Used to make ATP, you urinate out the rest. But in someone in diabetes, though, they don't have enough insulin or receptors. Glucose goes in the blood, can't get out of the blood because there's not enough insulin. Therefore, water is going to diffuse into your bloodstream, causing your cells to dehydrate, making you thirsty. You're going to urinate more. You have more sugar in your urine. You're not going to be able to get enough glucose in your cells. You become more tired, and you will lose weight because your fat cells cannot store the sugar. Also, with all that extra water in your bloodstream, it's going to cause extra force on the blood vessel walls, causing an increase in blood pressure. Bad news if you have a lot of sugar in your blood. If you think about that also, in your bloodstream, if you have too much sugar in there, that's going to cause your blood to be a little like syrupy. It's not going to be very easily or free-flowing. So blood sugar remains elevated. That's the definition of diabetes. We saw some effects of that. And in graphical form, it will look something like this. going off the charts, not going back down. That's what it looks like in a graph form. So when you have diabetes, you're going to urinate more, have high blood pressure, increase glucose in your urine because you have a lot of glucose in your blood. You're more tired, glucose can't get into your cells. Weight loss, glucose can't get into your cells. Thirsty, water will come out of your cells. And poor circulation. If you have a lot of sugar in your bloodstream, it's going to be putting sugar in water. It's going to make it syrupy if there's too much sugar in there. And that's going to make it real hard for the blood to transport nutrients and oxygen to the cells, the active cells that need it. And your cells all need nutrients and oxygen. It could also cause nutrients to not diffuse out as well in capillaries, cause trouble seeing, trouble with organs, trouble carrying out your life functions. It also leads to slower healing time because your skin won't be able to get the nutrients to heal itself. A bruise will stay a bruise longer because your body can't heal itself. It can't transport the nutrients it needs to heal. So there's two types of diabetes. Type 2, that's when you don't have enough insulin or enough insulin receptors. You can kind of control this with a diet. Type 1 diabetes, you have no insulin or receptors at all. All right, let's take a look at our next gland. It's going to be on these two little things. Those are your kidneys, and on top of your kidney, you have these glands. Remember that word that refers to kidney? Renal? We had in the kidney the renal pelvis. We had the renal vein, the renal artery. Below the kidney, or below anything, is known as sub. Above is ad. And this gland is above, and it's called the adrenal gland. So let's take a look at this adrenal gland. The adrenal gland controls your stress, such as your fight or flight response, by releasing things like adrenaline, cortisol. These are hormones. So let's focus on this fight or flight, this stress response in times of high need or high stress. So stressful situations, which is a stimulus, will cause adrenaline to be released. Stressful situations, like if you're on a hike and you go around the side of a rock and you see a bear and his cubs, you're panicking. You get into a car accident, you get hurt, accident injury, that's adrenaline's released. It allows you to have superhuman strength in either fight or escape the danger, fight or flight. In order to do that, you need a lot of ATP. You need to make ATP, therefore adrenaline will increase your breathing rate, allowing you to get more oxygen, so you do more aerobic respiration, which makes 36 ATP instead of 2. And you guys know when ATP is made, CO2 is always made, so increased breathing will help you get rid of the CO2. More blood sugar. Your fat cells and liver and muscle cells will release sugar, allowing you to make more ATP. And to get oxygen and to get sugar and to get the CO2 to where they need to go, your heart rate increases, allowing faster transport of nutrients to active cells and faster transport of waste away from active cells to the excretory organs. All right, so let's take a look at our last few hormones here, or glands here. In a female, you have these two little glands, and they're surrounded by a fallopian tube, a uterus, cervix, and then a vagina. Those two little black balls right there, those are the ovaries. Let's find a little spot. There we go. So the ovary. Let's go down to the bottom and take a little more of an explanatory look at this. The ovary, it's a female sex gland. The ovary is vital for reproduction. It's where the eggs are released. It's where the eggs mature and are released. But the ovary also releases hormones, such as estrogen, which causes or helps secondary sex characteristics develop in females. Widened hips, enlarged breasts, mammary glands getting ready, and the pituitary will release prolactin, causing milk to get made, and then oxytocin, released by the pituitary, will cause milk to come out. But estrogen causes sexual characteristics to form, secondary because you're not born with them. Things you're born with are primary, things you develop are secondary. The uterus will also get thick with blood vessels, getting ready for pregnancy due to estrogen. Progesterone keeps that thick uterus to allow for a baby to develop, a placenta to grow. But once progesterone leaves the blood, the uterine lining breaks down and is squeezed out during a process called menstruation. Looking at the male reproductive tract, again, we'll go into these in a lot more depth when we do the specified reproductive system. Those two glands, if you're a male, they will have descended or moved down during development and are outside the body in a sac called the scrotum. These are referred to as the testes. Release and produce sperm, necessary for reproduction. And the hormone testosterone is necessary for developing secondary male sex characteristics. It also helps in sperm production as well. Secondary male characteristics, deeper voice, harder bones, bigger muscles, things like that. So why do all these hormones, all these many different hormones, why do they deliver messages to very specific cells? And why do they deliver very specific messages? You know hormones are proteins, so I'm going to tell you one word: shape. Shape determines function. If you're looking here, hormone 1, let's say growth hormone, only talks or delivers a message to cell C because hormone 1's shape matches the receptor shape on cell C. Hormone 2 only delivers a message to cell A because the shape of the hormone matches or is corresponding to the shape of the receptors on cell A. And number 3, this hormone only delivers messages to cell B because the shape of the hormone matches or is corresponding to the shape of the receptor on cell B. So hormones only deliver messages, or they only target cells that have a matching shape receptor. And the cells that get the actual hormone and the message are called target cells. That's the endocrine system in review.